Welcome one and all to podcast episode 19 of Business in the VoM Today. I'm Michael Murphy, the president of the Mamaroneck Chamber of Commerce, and this is my show co-host, Chamber Vice President Jennifer O'Neill. Hello, Jennifer.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Now, the topic of today's show is VoM business resiliency in the wake of Hurricane Ida. The worst rainstorm in memory hit the VoM on September 1st, 2021, dropping an estimated 8.5 inches of rain in less than 12 hours. We recently passed the 4th anniversary of Hurricane Ida, whose devastation affected residents and businesses alike. Our guests today on the show are owners of businesses that were destroyed as a result of Hurricane Ida and decided to stay and rebuild. Please welcome Dan Fego, owner of Dan's Carpet and Blinds, Joe Minshi of Thompson Lock, and Vanessa Ritter, co-owner of the School of Rock.
Thank you all for agreeing to come today to talk about this topic. I know it can be difficult for each one of you. Could you start, maybe, Vanessa, by telling us what you experienced on that day at School of Rock?
Well, I felt really dumb because we had gotten the report that we were going to get a ton of rain, and we had an adult rehearsal that evening, and only one person showed. Everyone else was like, "Don't you see the satellite? It's going to be a really bad rainstorm." And we had rehearsal anyway, so I decided to stay behind and get the school prepped for potential leaking, maybe some, flooding from the doors or the windows, because the rain was coming down so heavy. And stayed until about 11:30, and you realized that the water was coming from the ground. It wasn't coming from the sky, and it was pushing up through the ground. So then that's when I realized we're done for, and I found a way home, but I couldn't get home, so I stayed at a friend's house, knocked at their door at around 11:30 at night, take me in. All the electricity went out, and we couldn't see the cameras anymore. So we really didn't know what we were coming back to. I went at around 7 o'clock in the morning and saw that the building was there. There wasn't any water, so I thought, this is great, it's going to be okay. And when I got to the window, I saw that there was about 5 inches of water, still water, on the ground, and drum sets were in the hallways because there was a wave that came from the apartment building behind us, and it literally pushed everything out from our main rehearsal room into the hallway. So it came with quite a bit of force to push that much stuff, heavy equipment, and it just was devastating. It was really hard to see a business that you put so much memories and love and TLC into just be decimated in such a short period of time. So we lost $100,000 worth of equipment.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Dan, could you share with us a little bit about what you experienced?
Sure. So the morning of, I'm driving to work. I went home that night, and it was a beautiful sunny day the next day. And I remember not really, you heard about rains and everything, but then as soon as I got off the hutch, I'm driving south on the hutch. I get off the hutch, and I'm on Mamaroneck Avenue now. Between Mamaroneck Avenue and the entrance to the New England Thruway, there was a cake of mud on the street, and cars were parked every different which way. And I was like, uh-oh, this doesn't look good. And, you start thinking, what's to follow down the road? And then I finally get to the store. I'm sorry, it was sad. The whole front plate glass window, the store filled up like a swimming pool, and the whole window just busted out into the street. And the store looked like a snow globe. It was, there were samples all over. So we sell carpet, wood flooring, display racks all over throughout the whole store. And those things and water don't mix well together. It's just a soaking mess. My inventory in the back, which, I had rolls of carpet there 1,000 pounds a piece without being wet. And, those are all just piled up in a big heap of, wet gunk, and that wasn't too good. So I experienced just a tremendous amount of devastation. And I remember meeting Jim Kaloran in the front of the store. He goes, here, here's a bottle of water. It's like everything will be okay. he was Johnny on the spot, and he had some people moving around the street, and I just, right from the beginning, that's what I experienced. But I just said, okay, what do we do next? We got to get back up and running, and just, the wheels start turning about, try not to just lament in all the devastation, and just try to, figure out what you're going to do to make it better, and, going on from there.
Thanks for going into that. I know it's painful.
Yeah.
Joe?
Look, I'm right across the street from Dan, and we had a full basement and 10 to 12 feet. I opened the door that morning. I don't know what time, it was early. Water just ran out for 40 minutes.
Oh, gosh.
Stuff from the back is in the front. Stuff that was in the basements upstairs.
Yeah.
Stuff floating around. I didn't know if we had a business, if we had a building, if the building was okay. Where do we start? What should I found a notebook, I started writing things down. Somebody goes, "What you lose?" I don't know. We ended up gutting the whole building and building it back. I put a sign outside, coming back bigger and better. And it was up there until the new glass went in, because we had water inside the third pane glass. So I feel bad for us as the businesses and the people behind me and in front of me, guys across the street. It was an ugly couple of weeks, to say the least.
Yeah.
And we all came together. You need this, you need an extension cord, we have it. Plug it to my generator if you need it, run a cord. So everybody was very friendly and helped each other. I just don't, it was just something that you don't want to experience.
I love the spirit that you talked about putting up that sign. What made you decide that you were going to stay in Mamaroneck and rebuild after such devastation?
Well, this year's our 50th anniversary at Thompson Lock at that location. Where were we going to go? We own the building. So a friend of mine said, put a sign up. Put a sign up. We're coming back. So no, we're going to put a sign up. We're going to be a build better than it is. And we put a sign up there. We held it up there for a long time. And, I rented an office behind the diner for a couple of months. We ran out of the trucks. We made an office out of the car. And we got going after like the second or third week while demo and reconstruction was happening.
Amazing. Vanessa, how about you?
Well, I really didn't understand what it meant to be a flood victim. And it really was something just so foreign to me. And it made me really understand how traumatic it is. And I will say, me personally, having come out of COVID, our business was really hit hard with all the COVID restrictions. We're a music school. We have to be together. We have to perform and play together. And that was a void, and we had to handle that for a couple years. And right when we were getting back on our feet, this happened, which really crushed us, because we had, almost 150, 200 students ready to start. And we had to tell them that we were no longer able to operate. And that meant I had a staff that I had to keep on payroll. But wonderful was how people came together. And actually, funny enough, it's so not rock and roll, but the Larchmont Yacht Club offered to house us for a month while we rebuilt the building. And we operated our school in a junior clubhouse for sailing, But it really was, we adapted, and because we had to get through COVID, we did it then, but we were stronger for it. I wish I knew a lot of things. Now we were just speaking about, I wish there was maybe like a plan that people should have been aware. Like, if you have flood damage, these are the steps of things you need to do. Contact ServPro, call your insurance. We were just so bewildered by the experience that it was trauma, and in the words of my son, who had just started high school that week, he said to me, "Mom, you have to keep it together for the company, for your employees, for all of us. Like, you can't fall apart." And that really built me up. I needed that.
Dan, why did you stay?
Because it's pretty much what I know. I knew that I stayed because I own the building, so I had to, no matter what happened, I had to fix the building. So, and then I've been doing, the store is, we've been in business for 63 years now, so I just wanted to continue the legacy. So also we had a lot of really good accounts. I didn't want to say, okay, I'm just going to stop and then not continue to service these accounts, commercially, residentially, and mostly commercially. We had a lot of good accounts that I didn't want to, I just want to say, hey, we got a little hiccup here, we're going to be back, and not to worry. But I didn't think too long and hard about jumping right back in. It was just automatic, mode to just, continue going. But again, that's what I knew, and I knew I had to do it, again, for the employees, like for the people that rely on me to keep the wheel going and to give them income so that they could support their families. I thought that was pretty important to keep that whole thing going, to do that. I thought
Small
that was important.
business owners are such a strong breed. I know this can possibly be a little bit touchy, but what do you think the village should be doing to make sure that this doesn't impact your businesses again? Should we end up getting a ton of rain in the future?
Well,
I can
I'll
answer.
start,
Okay,
if
go
you
ahead.
want.
Yep.
Thanks, Joe.
I always believe Columbus Park, make a retention pond, or somewhat bigger than it is. The foliage in the brook, clean the brooks. If you make it a little wider, a little deeper, I'm not going to say that's going to solve the problem. It's going to help alleviate some water coming to us. How much, I don't know. I know there's a lot of, a little couple of negatives. Metro North's never going to let you make a bigger hole underneath the bridge, underneath the tracks. Go deeper, go wider, fence in an area, make a retention pond, hold the water. It might help. I'm hoping that it is. I hope it never happens again. But, we're somewhat prepared for it. Via generators, pumps. We get there quick enough, we try to save something.
Vanessa?
Our lesson learned was really, put everything up. And just recently, I think it was over the summer, we had a threat of flooding. And, everyone calls me. They're like, there might be a flood, Vanessa. Just want to give you a heads up. And you know what we did? We took everything off the ground, 3-4 feet off the ground. And that's a lot of stuff, a lot of amps, drum sets. But it was worth it because I would never want to be in that position again to throw away all this nice equipment that the kids loved.
It's
So-
also got you in really good shape. All that lifted heavy equipment, I can see it.
Yeah.
Dan?
I think what the village could do is, I like the idea of the retention pond. I was thinking about that. It's a big area, widen it, deepen it, whatever you could do. I've been to multiple meetings, like right as soon as this happened, I was like, okay, I'm going to every meeting. I'm gonna just listen, I'm gonna just, have my voice be heard or whatever. Quite honestly, a lot of the meetings that I went to, there was bickering and bantering and arguing back and forth with the people, and some people had good ideas, but you got to look at what other municipalities do. You have to consider who our neighbors are and what they could help for, the downstream water that we're getting. We have to communicate with White Plains and Harrison and where the waters are coming, and we have to improve down by our the water company that we have down here, where I hear there's something with the dam that needs to be fixed. Are we going to fix it? Are we going to get a new one? Or are we going to get pumps? Are we going to rent pumps? Are we going to buy pumps? Are we going to? I mean, there's a lot of things that have been floating around, but there seemed to be a lot of arguing and bickering going back and forth, and it just really deflated my desire, and I'm just like grasping at straws, trying to figure that hopefully this is not going to happen again. But it's very, tomorrow it could happen. If it's just, I think something does need to be done, but we have to look at other places and see what they did to improve their situation, and we've got to uncover every stone. And I'm still not. I went to a few of the meetings over at the Murphy Brothers about the $88 million that was here and there and
Yeah.
not going anywhere, but now it's not here. I still don't have a grasp on where that is.
The federal funds? you mean?
Yeah, the federal funding.
And I think also, yeah, go ahead.
No, well, we're in Mamaroneck and we're looking out for ourselves, but quite honestly, there's been a lot of devastation throughout the country. And we haven't, I don't know if we've lost any lives here, possibly. 3 people have died with the floods. Places have gotten in our country that it's part of their landscape that they get flooded and a lot of people die. And I'm saying, okay, maybe just suck it up and let them do what they can do, because there's other places that are in worse shape than we are. But I don't know. I think that the right people, the smart people that are leading the community and making the decisions, hopefully they could come together and try to get some sort of game plan going that's going to help us, because there's a lot of people, we're a wonderful suburb out of New York City. This is an important area. A lot of people live here. A lot of people do business here. It's a high-profile area. We need to protect it. We need to do everything that we can.
Vanessa, last word.
Well, I think we just have to put the politics aside and really make this a unified effort to prioritize keeping all these businesses here. You know, you already noticed so many businesses, it seems, on the avenue have vacated. You know, we lost some businesses that didn't recover like we did. And it's a real void in the community, and I would hate to see that happen again. And so I hope, for the sake of the Mamaroneck thriving as business and residential community, everyone comes together and makes this a successful effort.
Thank you so much, all of you, for coming today to talk about something that I know that has been traumatic for you and your families and your employees. We appreciate it. It's an important topic, and we need to keep talking about it.
Thank you.
Dan's Carpet and Blinds, School of Rock, and Thompson Lock. They represent the best of the village of Mamaroneck. Thank you for being on the show. We have 2 more guests coming up whose businesses also were destroyed. We'll have them up next.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is episode 19 of Business in the VoM Today, and I'm your host, Michael Murphy, along with Chamber Vice President Jennifer O'Neill. Our guests are owners of businesses that were destroyed as a result of Hurricane Ida and decided to rebuild. Please welcome Andrew Spatz of Spatz Properties and Jim Bilotta, co-owner of Bilotta Kitchens. Welcome to the show, guys.
Great to be here.
Thank you.
On a dry Thursday.
Yeah, well,
dry.
there are
Thursday.
clouds.
Wednesday.
keeping our eyes to the sky. Thank you for coming. I know this is a difficult topic for everybody that was here during the flood. We're asking you to speak about your experiences during the hurricane. Andrew, do you want to start off?
Jump
As a
on it.
pun, I'll dive in. Yes, that was, it was an extraordinary time for not just businesses here in the village of Mamaroneck, but the entire village as a whole. It was, we were tried and tested. We have been we've been through it before, but it was a different level of destruction and speed with which the flooding occurred, one which we have never seen before. I was literally out the evening before the main event, and the water rose. ABC, NBC were there, and I literally said, you want to back your equipment up because in 10 minutes you're going to be knee deep, and sure enough, knee deep. And it happened.
The speed was
the
amazing.
speed with which this literally was flash flooding. And the amount and the height with which the flood came in was extraordinary. I mean, we've had flooding before during the seasonal change when the ground was frozen.
Right.
This was right after the summer. And if I recall, it was somewhat of a particularly dry summer. So you actually had some give with regards to the riverbanks. But the destruction was widespread and it came quickly. That led into an all-night affair of literally notifying our tenants, advising them. But the good news is, having been on the flood mitigation committee prior to that, we implemented some of the steps notifying tenants 72 hours out, 48 hours out, and 24, having a plan, making sure that any of their equipment and vehicles that were placed So we had 70,000 square feet of parking that some of our tenants actually used, making sure that they were placed elsewhere. So we had some notice. We did give our tenants advance notice. They took the necessary steps, which they could, the best they can.
Right.
But
There wasn't much they could do.
But once you move vehicles and once you try to raise as much equipment as you can, it's up to Mother Nature at that point. You're at the whim of Mother Nature.
Jim, I was living down the street from you when the flood hit, and I saw what happened to your place. Can you talk about it a little bit?
I try not to talk about it. I
I
try not to think
understand.
about it, actually. But what Andrew was saying is the speed of the buildup. Like in the past, they were slow. You know, the park would fill up first, and then maybe they'd cross Mamaroneck Ave. But you could see it coming. This was like, you know, night and day, just exploded. And I recall the waves coming down Waverly Ave and Hoyt. So,
Rapids.
Yeah,
Literally,
yeah,
rapids.
So normally it would have come from the park and crossed the street, Mamaroneck Ave. This time it came from Fenimore Road. And I never saw anything like that before. You know, to see a wave on Waverly Ave is just crazy.
And the
And so
destruction to your place?
Our building was 5-6 feet underwater, so all of our all of our displays, our computer systems, our warehouse, there wasn't anything that was saved. We saved maybe 9 out of 10 vehicles, which was good, but everything else was gone. Every appliance, every cabinet.
You have chosen to remain in Mamaroneck. I just went to your grand opening. Congratulations to you
We're
and to your
excited.
team. It's beautiful. What made you decide to stay in Mamaroneck after
Well,
such
actually,
devastation?
the first thing we had to do was to get the flooded showroom rebuilt. So that next morning, it all started with one piece of garbage, one piece of the showroom out into the garbage pile. And that was really the only way to start, the only way mentally to get your arms around it was just start throwing out the garbage. And that took about a month in itself. So our goal was not necessarily to stay in Mamaroneck. Our goal was to get our people back on payroll, get the business open again. We were somewhat lucky because we have 3 other showrooms that supported the staff in Mamaroneck. But in terms of, we were lucky that at some point we found what was Calico Corners, 1040 Mamaroneck Ave, and right before the next flood, we made the move, signed the lease, made the move over there, and our showrooms are now set up there, which leaves our back staff, our accounting, construction, they're still in this space.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, for about another 2 months.
Why did you stay?
You know, that's a great question. And you, among our insurance carriers, among our contractors, many people ask those very questions. Why? Why do you stay? And as 3rd generation Mamaroneck, there was no other choice. You have to stay.
Our roots are deep.
Run deep. And you comes to a point where the community, we employ residents, we're entrenched, we're part of the moral fiber and fabric of this community of residential and industry, and it's actually even on the emblem of the village, industry and prosperity. And it was important because our tenants, their customers depended upon us to be there and to remain committed that we would rebuild. And I have personally, along with many other business owners and residents in the community, have fought, not just here in the county, but in Washington, D.C., to make sure that our voices are heard, so that not just residents, but businesses could be sustained here. Because without business in the industrial area, the 70 acres that makes it up, there is no future. And it was paramount for us to illustrate, as one of the leaders in the business community, that we're going to remain steadfast, not just to our tenants who have been so good to us and their customers, but also to the community. So that was really, it wasn't even a choice.
Well, it's been 4 years now. What are you hoping that the village does to prevent future flooding?
The last time I met with the Army Corps of Engineers, they said that if we get this money and
construct the plans that we have done and spend the 80 or $100 million, they said the flood will be reduced from 6 feet to 3 feet. And I said to them, so that means my floors, my appliances, my cabinets are all destroyed and I'm out of business again. So back then I knew that the total solution wasn't with the Army Corps. And I firmly believe that the water's got to get held in retention basins north of Mamaroneck, whether it's White Plains, whether it's Maplemore Golf Course, Saxon Woods Golf Course, the reservoir, that they all have to be prepared for floodwater. They have to be able to hold the floodwater and then slowly release it so the village of Mamaroneck doesn't get destroyed. Now, how that ever happens, I don't think it ever does.
I think, building upon what was just said, it's imperative that we do this on an incremental level. Specifically, there's steps that the village elected officials can work collectively with the business owners and private residents alike. Unfortunately, in 2020, we had a different administration. I felt that many of the businesses were left in the cold in the sense of having to fend for ourselves. I do believe, since we've learned from that, and I believe that the community and the municipality is very responsive to both the residents and the commercial businesses alike. We are equally as important. As co-chair of flood mitigation, of the Industrial Advisory Committee, we have learned that it's not just what happens here locally. We need to start asking and demanding that our neighbors treat us better in the sense of controlling their water. We're at the end of the spout. It starts in Harrison, in Rye, in White Plains, uphill, and Scarsdale. And we need to start really calling individuals and municipalities to task to assist us, because it's not just about Mamaroneck. Mamaroneck creates very little of their own flooding. It comes from the Sheldrake and Mamaroneck River. So we need to start working collectively. And I do believe that it's a matter, the Army Corps project is not the silver bullet. It's going to make the difference between catastrophic and nuisance flooding. What we do collectively here, maintaining the infrastructure, sewers, maintaining the streams, things like that are paramount. Especially, for example, we got a vac truck. We never had a vac truck. We had to borrow vac trucks. Now we have our own vac truck to help maintain the infrastructure. So it's about pointing and implementing these types of measures that are what I always refer to as low-hanging fruit.
Hey, we thank both of you guys for being on the show, and we're grateful that you stayed in the village of Mamaroneck. You could have left. You know, I thought of three other businesses, many businesses that had Lansdale Electric, the Community Resource Center, Halftime, all places that suffered major damage and in the flood. You know, we're happy that you guys stayed. So, well, we'll see what happens next in the village, huh?
And we look forward to a
Great
bright
to be
future.
here.
It's good to be here.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Our final guest in this episode of Business in the VOM Today, where we are focusing on the VOM business resiliency in the wake of Hurricane Ida, asking business owners what happened to them and why they decided to stay and rebuild here in the village. Please welcome Village of Mamaroneck Trustee Maria Derose. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Mike. Welcome. Hi, John.
Welcome, Maria. Your focus on the Board of Trustees, among other things, is flood mitigation. So can you share some good news with the businesses of Mamaroneck around flood mitigation and what's going on, what's coming up?
I'm happy to give an update. I can tell you right now the entire village board, the mayor, the village manager, the assistant village manager, anybody who walks through the door at the regatta is focused on flood mitigation. It's everybody's project. We have a newly formed flood mitigation committee that is also focused on that. We are working tirelessly with the Army Corps of Engineers to get that, to get their project back on track. They have been amazing. They are trying to fast track this as much as possible. Get the additional money from Congress. George Latimer is also helping. Our mayor has made invaluable contacts with the state, federal government, the county. They're all working towards getting the Army Corps project done quickly and getting other projects done. The county has pledged additional money to the village for flood mitigation projects, so that's a great thing. We are also going to be implementing a map that's user interactive, and that will have every single project flood mitigation listed on it, and you could log on, you could see the map, you could get real-time updates on what's going on with all the different projects. We are pursuing all kinds of grant money because, as we know, these projects are quite costly, and we're doing our best to try and mitigate as much as we can for it, and everybody is working toward the same common goal to make Mamaroneck as flood resistant as we can be. I mean, it'll never end the problem. I know we are looking at other communities such as Hoboken. Hoboken is wonderful, but that was a $500 million project. We don't have that kind of money, so we're working with what we've got, and we're trying to get more money to do more things and trying to get them done as quickly as possible. Little things that we're doing in the interim, we are meeting before any significant rain event, and even some minor rain events. Dennis Del Borgo, who's our assistant village manager, has put together a group, a task force, made up of DPW, village staff, police, fire, everyone. So he meets with us, and we go over things such as making sure catch basins are cleaned out. The catch basins are cleaned out on a regular schedule, but if we know there's going to be a heavy rain event, DPW is on top of it. They will go out and they will get to the most problematic areas immediately and then work back from there to try and get the other catch basins done. So everything is cleaned out as close as possible to those events. I know Fenimore Road is a real issue with the catch basins and they flood, so that is top of our list. Focus on that area. And as much mitigation as we can get done will help everyone in the village, which will then help businesses, and everybody will thrive.
It was a good hire getting Dennis Del Borgo because he has the experience as the emergency preparedness for the county. So
amazing. I mean, Dennis is just wonderful. He's emergency preparedness. You can't beat him. He's amazing.
Great. We had him on the show recently. We should probably have him back talking about this, the playbook for the village businesses. That'd be kind of cool. Somebody had brought that up in one of our earlier interviews about having a list of directory of who to call in the case of cleanup or whatever. You know, people that they can sort of these are businesses they'd be hiring, but it'd be nice if we had be great, helpful if we had a playbook like that. So,
yeah, and he's working on it. He's wonderful.
So I have a lot of confidence. You know, I've seen the way that the village trustees have worked and village government in recent years, this last couple of years, and I think that we're heading in the right direction. So, but I think that it's important for us, and the reason why we did this show today is so that we just keep it in the forefront of people's minds, that they're aware that this is a place that floods, and we need to be doing things about that. So we look forward to having the business community working with you and the other trustees on ultimately mitigating the flood problems in the village of Mamaroneck.
It would be nice.
So, Maria, we thank you for being on the show. And our other guests is Vanessa Ritter of the School of Rock, Dan Fego of Dan's Carpet and Blinds, Joe Minshi, Thompson Locks, attorney Andrew Spatz, and Jim Bilotta Kitchens, who, as I said earlier, that we could have had 5 other businesses that could have replaced them: Lanza Electric, Murphy Brothers Contracting, the CRC, all the halftime places that flooded. And by the way, just wanted to bring this up: the Bilotta Kitchens and Thompson Locks will be honored for significant business milestones in the upcoming annual Chamber Holiday Party on Thursday, December 11th at Nona Corolla. You can register online. It is a great party, Maria.
A lot of fun.
Yes. And we thank you all for listening. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, make your request known to our VP, Jennifer O'Neill, and she'll see what we can do. Jennifer, the promotion.
Okay. Thank you for listening to our podcast, Village of Mamaroneck, Chamber of Commerce podcast. You can learn more at our website, chamberofmamaroneck.org. Special thanks to LMC Media. This podcast was recorded in their studio on the Avenue in Mamaroneck, New York. Visit lmcmedia.org to book your time in this state-of-the-art convenient location, walkable from the Metro North train station on Mamaroneck Avenue. You can also support this nonprofit media center at lmcmedia.org/donate.
Last words, Maria?
we are working as hard as we can. We've got wonderful partners, like I said, with the federal, state, and the county. And if anyone has any suggestions, please just let us know. You could reach the flood committee. Our email address is on the website, and at our October meeting, I believe it's October 18th, I'm not sure, the mayor is actually going to be making a presentation to the committee about all the different flood mitigation projects that she's been working on. And anyone is welcome to attend the meetings. They are open to the public. The date of the meeting is on the village calendar, and it's going to be held in the courtroom.
We have a chamber meeting with the mayor and the village manager on September 25th?
I believe so.
5th, yes. And we're looking forward to that. Now, in the Chamber of Commerce, our slogan is?
Keep it local.
That's right. We support each other's businesses. We thank you for being a member of the Mamaroneck Chamber of Commerce. Our number one goal is to help your business succeed in the VOM. You tell us, what can we do to support your business in 2025 and beyond?